I told you I'm going to teach you two concepts. One was call by reference, and the other one is function pointer. So the last class I did call by reference, and now today we are looking at function pointer. So what is this class about? I am going to create a function, then I'm going to create a pointer and store the address of that function in the pointer, and then dynamically call that function later. So an example of this is the concept of Daniel in the Bible when they went into exile. So what they did was, while they were going, the temple is there, the holiest of holy, where they could access heaven. So they took the address along with them. So when Daniel wants to pray, he opens his window, right, and face Jerusalem. So what he was actually doing was calling the function and passing parameters of a particular problem to the functions, and the function will execute. I told you, everything is about you, your body, your soul, and your spirit, right? Once that alignment is established with the Christ in you, which is the hope of glory, you will find solutions to everything that you're looking for. So it's basically about having something like this is your spirit, right? This is your soul, right? And this is your body, right? And then this one is what? Christ in you, right? Now this has these layers too. So let's stick to this one in our code in trying to explain our program. So today I'm going to create a function, and I'll just create a function to add two values. So 5 plus 3 equals to 8. Just a function that will add any two values, and then I will create a pointer to it. So the first thing I will do is uh, include stdio.h, right? So I'm going to create a function, and the function will return an integer. So I'll call it add. And then this function will expect two parameters. So int a, int b. So I'm going to close this. So inside it, I'll just say return a plus b, right? Then I will close my function. So this is my function that I've created. And I'll say int main. In main. Now inside this, my main function, I am going to create my pointer. And then I'm going to store the address of this function in that pointer. So I will say int. Remember, it's all about the concept. The concept is that if a pointer is a variable that stores the address of another variable. Now, this function that you have created, a memory location will also be created for you. So there's also an address in the memory for this function. So the address of this function is what will be passed to my pointer. So I'm going to create a function pointer. Function pointer. So I'm creating a function pointer, and then this function pointer tells me it is going to point to a function that is expecting two parameters. So int and int, right? Then doing this, I will now say assign the address of add to it. So I'll just give it the name. So this is it. I have created a function pointer. So this is a function pointer pointing to an integer function that expects two parameters. That's what it means. And now I'm storing the address of that function in this parameter. So I'm pointing it to it. That's what I've done. So I'm going to call this function through this pointer. I'll now say int result, whatever the output to be, result. Then function pointer. I will supply 2 parameters to it. I will supply 2 and 5 to it, right? Then here I will say print f. The output is I'll just say result equals to percentage d. I'll put /n, and then I'll close this, and I'll say result, right? And I'll say return 0. So I'll close this. All right, so this is me. I created a function, right? Then I created a pointer to that function, and then I stored the address of the function in the pointer. Here I am calling that function using the pointer, and I'm supplying 2 parameters to it. So the moment from this place, from here, control will come here. So these 2 will be given, so int a will take 2, and then int b will take 5, right? It will take 2 and it will take 5. So it will come in. It will return a plus b. So a plus b will be what? 7. That will be returned to this place and stored in address. Then printf will now print result equals to the format specifier d is telling printf, I'm going to supply you a variable. Print out whatever is in that variable according to the standard process. So it will read, don't forget, this 7 will be stored in the memory as 0 and 1. So the processor, the compiler is communicating with the operating system and then communicating with the processor. So the processor is going to interpret that 0 and 1 using the instruction coming from the realm of integer. So it's going to print it out as what? 7. So this will give us 7 as output. So this is what Daniel was doing. He was pointing to what? To Jerusalem, where the function is, meaning he was calling a function and supplying the parameters to that function to execute a program for them, to execute and give them the output. So anytime he encounters a problem, the formula to solve that problem is somewhere. So what they did was they carried along the address of that formula, so they can always call it and then supply parameters to it, and it will give them an expected output. So this is what function pointer. You create a function, you create a pointer, point it to the address of the function, and then dynamically call that function using the pointer and supply parameters to it. So that is what I want to show you in this class. So you can see how important and flexible a pointer is, right? So in the next class, I'm just going to teach you something about time. There is no such thing as luck, and there is no such thing as accident. That I will prove to you in the next class. So let's go to code blocks. Let me run this for you to see. This is the add function, and then this is us creating. So we've created the add function, which is going to return the addition of 2 numbers, and then we are creating our function pointer here and pointing it to the address of add, and then we are accessing that add function using the pointer and supplying 2 parameters to it. It will now work on it and bring back the result store it into this result variable, and then printf function will now print out the value. So let's see what this will give us. It should print out result equals to 7. So you see, result equals to 7. So that is what we want to show you in this class. So till we see in the next class. Bye-bye.